HESI A2 Anatomy and Physiology Complete Review. Question 1. Which option identifies the reproductive structure with this feature? It contains follicles at different stages of development. Option A, spermatogenesis. Option B, ovary. Option C, vagina. Option D, seminal vesicle. The correct answer is option B, ovary. This reproductive structure participates in supporting female reproduction. It produces oocytes and female sex hormones, and it contains follicles at different stages of development. Those details distinguish the tested concept from related choices. Question 2. Which option identifies the skeletal structure or regulator most directly associated with monitoring stress within mineralized matrix, and this function maintains mature bone tissue? Option A, spongy bone. Option B, metaphyses. Option C, osteocyte. Option D, periosteum. The correct answer is option C, osteocyte. This skeletal structure or regulator participates in monitoring stress within mineralized matrix. It maintains mature bone tissue, and it occupies a lacuna and communicates through canaliculi. Those details distinguish the tested concept from related choices. Question 3. Which option identifies the respiratory structure associated with supporting lung movement? In both clues, it reduces friction and helps couple the lungs to the thoracic wall, and it has visceral and parietal layers separated by a thin fluid film. Option A, pleura. Option B, right main bronchus. Option C, left main bronchus. Option D, nasal cavity. The correct answer is option A, pleura. The function described is that this respiratory structure reduces friction and helps couple the lungs to the thoracic wall. A second identifying feature is that it has visceral and parietal layers separated by a thin fluid film. Together, the two clues explain the role in supporting lung movement. Stressed about your HESI A2? We can take HESI A2 for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 4. A learner connects the clues, builds new bone matrix, and secretes osteoid and promotes mineral deposition. Which option best matches both clues? Option A, epiphyseal plate. Option B, perforating canal. Option C, periosteum. Option D, osteoblast. The correct answer is option D, osteoblast. The function described is that this skeletal structure or regulator builds new bone matrix. A second identifying feature is that it secretes osteoid and promotes mineral deposition. Together, the two clues explain the role in supporting growth and fracture repair. Question 5. A review item describes a process that adds matrix beneath the periosteum while internal surfaces are reshaped. Which option identifies it? Option A, ribosomal RNA. Option B, carbon dioxide diffusion. Option C, appositional growth. Option D, diaphragm contraction. The correct answer is option C, appositional growth. For thickening a growing long bone, this process increases bone diameter. It can also be recognized because it adds matrix beneath the periosteum while internal surfaces are reshaped. The remaining choices have different primary functions or locations. Question 6. A student is reviewing a concept involved in supporting venous return. Which option identifies the mechanism with this function, changes thoracic and abdominal pressures during breathing? Option A, skeletal muscle pump. Option B, lymphatic pump. Option C, respiratory pump. Option D, independent assortment. The correct answer is option C, respiratory pump. The role tested here involves supporting venous return. This mechanism changes thoracic and abdominal pressures during breathing. It can also be identified because it helps draw venous blood toward the heart. Question 7. A student is reviewing a concept involved in supporting the arches of the foot. Which option identifies the bones with this function, form the long framework of the forefoot? Option A, sacrum. Option B, tibia. Option C, atlas. Option D, metatarsals. The correct answer is option D, metatarsals. The role tested here involves supporting the arches of the foot. These bones form the long framework of the forefoot. They can also be identified because they lie between the tarsals and toe bones. Question 8. Which option identifies the process that creates a medullary osmotic gradient through opposite flow and differential permeability? Option A, cytokinesis. Option B, countercurrent multiplier. Option C, renal compensation. Option D, homeostasis. The correct answer is option B, countercurrent multiplier. This process creates a medullary osmotic gradient through opposite flow and differential permeability. It operates mainly in long nephron loops. These linked features explain the role in enabling concentrated urine. Are you looking for HESI A2 actual questions? Visit our website pokerexams.com to access HESI A2 study guide with actual questions and answers. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get HESI A2 answer key today. Question 9. Which option identifies the hormone that supports vasoconstriction and alertness during stress? Option A, melatonin. Option B, secretin. Option C, antidiuretic hormone. Option D, norepinephrine from adrenal medulla. The correct answer is option D, norepinephrine from adrenal medulla. This hormone supports vasoconstriction and alertness during stress. It enters the bloodstream as a catecholamine hormone. These linked features explain the role in supporting fight or flight physiology. Question 10. Which option identifies the bone most important for building the facial skeleton because it forms the upper jaw and supports upper teeth? Option A, maxilla. Option B, ischium. Option C, sacrum. Option D, metatarsals. The correct answer is option A, maxilla. A key clue is that this bone also contributes to the hard palate and orbit. It also forms the upper jaw and supports upper teeth. That combination is central to building the facial skeleton. Question 11. Impairment of which plane would most directly prevent the following function? Divides the body into superior and inferior portions? Option A, frontal plane. Option B, transverse plane. Option C, parasagittal plane. Option D, the oblique plane. The correct answer is option B, transverse plane. A key clue is that this plane produces a cross-sectional view. It also divides the body into superior and inferior portions. That combination is central to examining an axial image of the abdomen. Question 12. Which option identifies the blood component most directly associated with providing innate defense, and this function engulfs bacteria and responds early to acute infection? Option A, eosinophil. Option B, monocyte. Option C, basophil. Option D, neutrophil. The correct answer is option D, neutrophil. This blood component participates in providing innate defense. It engulfs bacteria and responds early to acute infection, and it is the most abundant circulating white blood cell in healthy adults. Those details distinguish the tested concept from related choices. Question 13. A student is reviewing a concept involved in driving circulation. Which option identifies the muscle structure or process with this function, contracts rhythmically to pump blood? Option A, myosin. Option B, cardiac muscle tissue. Option C, sarcoplasmic reticulum. Option D, motor unit. The correct answer is option B, cardiac muscle tissue. The role tested here involves driving circulation. This muscle structure or process contracts rhythmically to pump blood. It can also be identified because it contains branched striated cells joined by intercalated discs. Question 14. Which option identifies the structure associated with supporting accommodation? And both clues: it changes lens curvature for near or distant vision, and it acts through suspensory fibers. Option A, ciliary muscle. Option B, corpus callosum. Option C, vagus nerve. Option D, tympanic membrane. The correct answer is option A, ciliary muscle. The function described is that this structure changes lens curvature for near or distant vision. A second identifying feature is that it acts through suspensory fibers. Together, the two clues explain the role in supporting accommodation. Question 15. A review item describes a joint structure or movement that is found at the wrist and knuckles. Which option identifies it? Option A, condyloid joint. Option B, hinge joint. Option C, ball and socket joint. Option D, supination. The correct answer is option A, condyloid joint. For classifying synovial movement, this joint structure or movement permits flexion, extension, abduction, and adduction without axial rotation. It can also be recognized because it is found at the wrist and knuckles. The remaining choices have different primary functions or locations. Question 16. Which option identifies the reproductive structure whose key function is, delivers semen and also conducts urine at different times? Option A, seminal vesicle. Option B, oogenesis. Option C, penis. Option D, endometrium. The correct answer is option C, penis. This reproductive structure delivers semen and also conducts urine at different times. It contains erectile tissues surrounding the urethra. These linked features explain the role in supporting copulation and elimination. Question 17. Which option identifies the urinary structure best matching this description? It passes through the medullary osmotic gradient, and it sets final urine concentration in response to water-balance signals. Option A, proximal convoluted tubule. Option B, descending limb. Option C, renal cortex. Option D, collecting duct. The correct answer is option D, collecting duct. For determining water loss, this urinary structure sets final urine concentration in response to water-balance signals. It can also be recognized because it passes through the medullary osmotic gradient. The remaining choices have different primary functions or locations. Question 18. A learner connects the clues, randomly distributes maternal and paternal homologs into gametes, and increases variation during the first meiotic division. Which option best matches both clues? Option A, crossing over. Option B, respiratory pump. Option C, independent assortment. Option D, skeletal muscle pump. The correct answer is option C, independent assortment. The function described is that these mechanisms randomly distributes maternal and paternal homologs into gametes. A second identifying feature is that they increases variation during the first meiotic division. Together, the two clues explain the role in forming genetically varied gametes. Stressed about your HESI A2? We can take HESI A2 for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee A pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 19. Which option identifies the process best matching this description? It is associated with a rise in pH and reduced carbonic acid, and it develops when excessive ventilation removes too much carbon dioxide. Option A, respiratory alkalosis. Option B, facilitated diffusion. Option C, blood glucose regulation. Option D, oxygen diffusion. The correct answer is option A, respiratory alkalosis. For interpreting acid-base changes caused by the lungs, this process develops when excessive ventilation removes too much carbon dioxide. It can also be recognized because it is associated with a rise in pH and reduced carbonic acid. The remaining choices have different primary functions or locations. Question 20. Which option identifies the cardiac process most important for beginning ventricular systole because it raises ventricular pressure without changing volume? Option A, cardiac output. Option B, bisovolumetric contraction. Option C, ventricular ejection. Option D, bisovolumetric relaxation. The correct answer is option B, isovolumetric contraction. A key clue is that this cardiac process occurs after atrioventricular valves close and before semilunar valves open. It also raises ventricular pressure without changing volume. That combination is central to beginning ventricular systole. Question 21. A physiology item gives two clues. It moves selected substances from blood into tubular fluid, and it helps eliminate hydrogen ions, drugs, and excess potassium. Which option identifies the process? Option A, atrial natriuretic response. Option B, negative feedback. Option C, tubular secretion. Option D, homeostasis. The correct answer is option C, tubular secretion. The role tested here involves fine-tuning urine composition. This process moves selected substances from blood into tubular fluid. It can also be identified because it helps eliminate hydrogen ions, drugs, and excess potassium. Question 22. Which option identifies the electrical process most directly associated with preparing an excitable cell to respond in this function, maintains a negative voltage inside an unstimulated neuron? Option A, saltatory conduction. Option B, depolarization. Option C, excitatory postsynaptic potential. Option D, resting membrane potential. The correct answer is option D, resting membrane potential. This electrical process participates in preparing an excitable cell to respond. It maintains a negative voltage inside an unstimulated neuron, and it depends on ion gradients and selective membrane permeability. Those details distinguish the tested concept from related choices. Question 23. A student is reviewing a concept involved in explaining adaptive specificity. Which option identifies the immune component or process with this function, activates lymphocytes whose receptors match a specific antigen? Option A, clonal selection. Option B, passive immunity. Option C, vaccination. Option D, opsonization. The correct answer is option A, clonal selection. The role tested here involves explaining adaptive specificity. This immune component or process activates lymphocytes whose receptors match a specific antigen. It can also be identified because it produces effector and memory descendants. Question 24. A learner connects the clues, breaks peptide bonds in proteins, and is secreted by the pancreas as an inactive precursor. Which option best matches both clues? Option A, sucrase. Option B, chymotrypsin. Option C, gastric lipase. Option D, maltase. The correct answer is option B, chymotrypsin. The function described is that this digestive enzyme breaks peptide bonds in proteins. A second identifying feature is that it is secreted by the pancreas as an inactive precursor. Together, the two clues explain the role in digesting proteins. Question 25. A learner connects the clues, indicates a position above another structure, and is used when comparing structures along the vertical axis of the body. Which option best matches both clues? Option A, superior. Option B, proximal. Option C, posterior. Option D, deep. The correct answer is option A, superior. The function described is that this directional term indicates a position above another structure. A second identifying feature is that it is used when comparing structures along the vertical axis of the body. Together, the two clues explain the role in describing the nose relative to the mouth.